On this winter morning, a wedding celebration is starting on the bluestone paths in Shangjiushan village. For this village, the woman's red veil is symbolic of beauty and modesty. Shangjiushan is not too far from Confucius's hometown, and even closer to Mencius's. Built in the early years of the Northern Song dynasty, over 300 stone houses from the Ming and Qing dynasties have been preserved. The village is surrounded by 9 mountains, thus the name Shangjiushan. Today, there are more than 1,200 villagers, and the Zhang family make up the majority.
Mom, open the door! Open the door!
The Zhang family wedding is the biggest event of the year for the entire Shangjiushan village.
And 1! Yes, and 2! And now 3! There we go!
After the veil is removed, the couple kneel down and bow before moving on to the next step.
These are peanuts, and these here are longan.
This is the wishing for a baby ceremony, wherein a heart-shaped rock is revealed to everyone.
This is a heart, and this is a mouth. This symbolizes the family and honesty. As you can see, these are separate hearts, and now they are joined together as one. This symbolizes more than that as well. These hearts are made of stone, and in our culture, that symbolizes loyalty. Am I right? We wish the couple lifelong love and loyalty.
In Shangjiushan village, the wedding token should be presented by the elders or parents or the party secretary. It is a symbol of honesty, mutual affinity, and sincerity. A rock that is commonly found in the village takes on a whole new meaning for this family. Today, most young people from Shangjiushan travel back to the village for weddings. They leave the city knowing what the village can offer. Over the centuries, villagers have lived in peace. A couple's separation would be rare and almost unexpected. Major arguments between couples are not common around here.
In our village, men make a promise and they must keep it. They honor it more than their wives.
Yes. They must not question the marriage. When a couple gets married, they learn how to get along, no matter what. If you look here, we have the family instructions.
The father is caring and the son dutiful.
Yes. Harmony between couples. And look at this one. To be honest. Honesty is most important for a family to prosper, always. Our village was built on integrity and on our honesty.
In Shangjiushan village, people pay their respects to an old pistachio tree. The morning after a wedding, a newlywed couple must worship under the tree in the north of the village. Its history dates back over 2,000 years. The tree has many stories, one of which is a legend regarding a man called Jigong. In 479 BC, when Confucius died, his favorite student Zigong meant to take a pistachio tree from the south to Confucius's tomb. As he passed Shangjiushan, the tree fell. It slipped off the carriage. Its broken branches grew into a towering tree with the help of the rain. The Zheng family's ancestors migrated from Shanxi upon the emperor's orders. They saw the tree, and it reminded them of a Confucian sage. And so they chose to stay here. They also hoped that the legacy of Qigong would bless them and their descendants. The tree may have changed since, but the message remains the same. Today, descendants still come to pray to their ancestors so that they will not forget that a family will only prosper with honesty.
Among all of Confucius's pupils, Zhigong was easily the most successful businessman. Also, he is often considered as the father of the scholar merchant. If the legacy of Zhigong lives on, then so does morality. We must keep ourselves surrounded by good people. We should live in a place that upholds virtue. That is what Confucius tells us. And we should listen. This place, I would think, is populated by people who are capable of respecting these morals and sticking by them.
It must have taken great courage for the Zheng family ancestors to settle down here, because in Shangjiushan, fields are rocky and dry, with barren lands, making it difficult for anyone to survive. The village is at the border of Zhou, Fushan, and Yutai County, and was once a convenient transportation hub. There were many businessmen and craftsmen in the village. Among the businesses here is the centuries-old tradition of ducklings on credit.
Get your ducklings right here!
Zhang Xiaozeng started selling ducklings at the age of 18. Today, he is 63 years old. During the off-season, he wanders the streets with 400 ducklings and batter cakes.
I counted, and you have been selling for 45 years. Is there anyone else who still sells ducklings?
Not too many, perhaps one or two more of us. There is a lot less pressure to sell ducklings these days. I am older, and that means walking around is good for me. I get exercise. If I make money while I do, then that's great. Get your ducklings right here! Get your ducklings now!
Ducklings on credit, as the name implies, means one will not be paid at first. Names and money owed are recorded in a notebook. All accounts are settled after autumn. In the past, peasants had no cash. Ducks lay their eggs after half a year. So eggs are traded for salt, rice, or money. That is how the villagers got by. And because of this, no one wanted male ducks. So while selling ducklings to strangers, the seller must guarantee they are all females.
We have an old saying, after a businessman completes the sale of his ducklings, that's the end, because he would have made a lot of money. Yes, quite a lot of money.
What do you mean complete?
When he sold all his ducklings.
Was there anyone who did not pay?
I sold both male and female ducks, and as expected, my buyers found it easy to make them lay eggs. It was simple, and that made it easy for them to settle accounts with me. Some even treated me to the occasional special dinner. Some gave me apples too.
In all the time you've been doing this, what was the largest debt you had?
I think it was in the 1970s. I remember it must have been about 4,000 or 5,000 yuan. That was a lot of money at the time, and enough to build a big house with.
In its heyday, the village had over 20 hothouses. Almost all male adults would sell ducklings on credit. They would go from northeastern provinces up to Zhejiang further down south.
There were 10 rules for selling ducklings on credit. The 5th rule was most important. You must be honest. One must clearly state the gender of the ducklings. There must be no lying and no falsifying debt. That's how we earn their trust. We have been doing this for a century. And we may be peasants, but we are realistic and practical. This gives us good business for the coming year and the years to come.
With a selling method that highlights honesty, Shangjiushan villagers never had to worry. They almost never went hungry. Honesty and the village life are closely intertwined, never one without the other.
What is honesty? To put it simply, it means one does not cheat. First of all, do not cheat people. And second, one must not cheat the gods. And lastly, one needs to listen to their conscience. And it has been proven that many successful businessmen value honesty, while on the other hand, dishonesty and negative traits like it are qualities predominant in men who have failed. Failure has been linked to dishonesty. So the value and significance of honesty is ingrained in today's business behavior.
Today, there is no need to buy ducklings on credit. Experienced villagers found new business opportunities. Soon, a large group of tea dealers emerged. They were selling tea and made connections, keeping in mind the integrity they valued. Zhang Chunfang's ancestors were businessmen too. His parents died young, and when he finished high school, he sold tea at the market. He started with a loan of 80 yuan. Although tea was not popular at the time, on most days he was able to keep his booth crowded. He had a secret technique. He was careful not to force the sale. Instead, he would explain it patiently. As a result, his business expanded quickly, and soon he ran a tea shop in the county.
We have used this rod scale for generations now. When I was little, my grandpa and my father told me that I should adjust the scale for weighing the items that we sell.
Oh, you mean you would give more?
Yes, we certainly would not want to give less using this family heirloom. This may only be a rod scale, but it not only weighs the items we sell, it weighs with integrity as well.
In 1996, Zhang Chunfang ordered mid-grade Longjing tea. But then, when the tea arrived, he discovered that the supplier gave him high-grade tea instead.
I hurried to town as quickly as I could and found a telephone I could use. I called the supplier. I told him what happened. He was completely surprised that I called, but those two types of tea are priced quite differently. A difference of 10,000 yuan, a huge amount. He was grateful. And since then, we were good friends. We did business. And now I make business deals with his son. You simply cannot be a good merchant without being a good man. The people I work with are my friends too.
Zhang Chunfang's tea shop is popular, especially with the locals. He is determined to keep following the valuable lessons his elders have passed on to him.
Under this same tree, my grandpa would always tell me, we should use most of our intelligence, but leave the rest to our sons. If we use all we are given, our descendants might suffer. No matter what we're doing, we have a duty to live our lives only by the truth and to live humbly. Our family stands by these rules. I live my life with these values. I make sure there is integrity in everything I do. And whatever the decision might entail, I think of these rules, and I try to make sure I remain honest.
Old sayings about being honest have been passed down for generations. Descendants must never forget that honesty is integral for one's family to prosper. Zhang's descendants have grown in number and will continue to do so. And as promised, they have been raised to uphold these important values.
These are the rules for our family. The Zhengs. I implore that all of you listen. Members of the family must love each other and others too. Couples must live in harmony and be kind to their neighbors. Most of all, they must respect the virtues of others. Honesty is good for the family.
Zhang Yichang is 76 and has seniority as head of the Zhang family. The Spring Festival is approaching, and descendants of the family gather from all around to update the list on the genealogy of the Zhang family. Zhang Yichang grew up in Liuhe Yard. He and his 6 brothers lived here. They managed their farm and businesses. Because of their integrity, their family remained prosperous. Today, we count over 100 descendants from Liuhe Yard. The Zhang family is the largest clan in the village. Zhang Yichang still remembers an experience his eldest grandfather once shared. His eldest grandfather was a knife grinder, and on the first day of the 12th month, While the roads were covered in heavy snow, he left home with his tools. He did this to fulfill a promise to a neighboring village to sharpen their knives. When he returned home, he fell ill. It is this story about his grandfather that reminds his descendants in Liuhan Yard to live a life of integrity.
My eldest grandpa worked all day, and he fell ill for 2 days. He suffered losses, but he did what was right. It is this that we are raised with, the importance of keeping your word no matter what.
He went and came back through snow, through terrible weather, to sharpen knives. He risked his safety, and he even got sick because of it. Why? Well, because he kept his word. And if you keep your word, you will be happy. Mencius once said, "A man can only find happiness if he lives honestly." How can he achieve this? Both from within himself and his work. A man can achieve harmony between his behavior and the actions he chooses to take, and that will result in his happiness spiritually. A truly honest man might suffer some losses, but what happens in the long run? He'll be able to win people over. People will trust him, and with those connections, no doubt, he will be more successful in his businesses, and eventually, he will make a bigger profit. That is the reason honesty is crucial. Honesty always brings harmony to one's life, truly, be it within one's family or even society. This sense of integrity will lead to lifelong happiness for all.
Yin Yan Lu is a scholar at the Mencius Research Institute. In recent years, he has been studying the family histories and culture in Shangzhou. He also teaches Chinese culture. Today, he is here to discuss with the villagers the two characters for honesty and their history.
Right now, we are in a historical location. This is the hometown of Confucius and Mencius. These men would ask, what are the qualities that make a real gentleman? It is a man who is just, proper, wise, honest, and kind. Look here. As you can see, the upper part here, that is a knife. It takes shape as part of the character. As is tradition, words are carved delicately on boards, as prayers using these knives represented here. And with those carvings, they are able to pray not only to the heavens, but also to the ancestors. These are the characters for word and speak, meaning we must keep our promises. If we were to put a prayer, what words would we use? Connected to the character for honesty, this part of the character represents an axe, an old axe, one with a very long handle. And with this long axe, they make themselves bleed like so, and they place the blood onto the utensil. This part represents the blood. It is smearing the blood, as in part of the oath. And so, they swear to the gods, a lifelong vow to the gods. I will make promises, but only if I can keep them. I will make commitments, and never will I fail to honor them. I am a man of my word, and I know in my heart I'm a man of integrity. Any man will only be able to find true success, be it for business or with family or personal life, and can establish a valid position in society when he makes the commitment to live with honesty.
This open class offers a deeper understanding of what honesty means to people in the village. In the old school of the Qing dynasty, books like the Analects of Confucius and Mencius have been preserved. In Confucius's eyes, a dishonest man is as good as a carriage without wheels, unable to go anywhere in the world. Mencius has also said, honesty is the way of heaven. To be honest is the way of man. That means honesty is a fundamental law of the universe, and the pursuit of honesty is basic for every man. The concept of honesty in Shangzhou has value beyond its history through the years. Honesty and sincerity have taken root in the village and have been passed down through generations for centuries. A man will earn the people's trust with his words, deeds, and heart. This is the motto of Zhang Wei, the village secretary. Zhang Wei was once project manager of a production company in town. He came back 4 years ago to run for position of secretary. The man promised he would build a road to the village and help recapture the village's splendor of old.
When I came back to the village, I found that many houses were uninhabited, so they had collapsed. Stone houses are made to last, but their roofs will collapse if no one lives there, and they're empty. I felt terrible when I saw what happened. It's sad. When I was much younger, I would walk around and I would explore the ancient village. I constructed buildings in the city for years, and houses in the city aren't as sturdy. The walls of the houses here are about twice as thick. You know what that means? The houses will keep you warm in winter and can stay perfectly cool in the summer. It would take almost 1 year to build a stone house with 3 rooms. If we don't preserve the houses, then fewer and fewer people will want to live in them. They could collapse. It's a pity.
After the repairs took place, many of the villagers moved to the foot of the mountain. There, it was more ideal than on the mountain itself. People who worked outside the village found a place to live in the town. Half believed and half doubted Zhang Wei's 2 promises to rehabilitate the village and pave the road.
Did you believe he would do it?
Oh, we doubted him. We really did. We did not believe him, and we wondered, how would he do that? Will he have the money to do what he promised to do? It took him a few years, but eventually he fulfilled his promise.
Since he began working at the village, he never rested or took a holiday. He seems determined to make sure he keeps his promises to us.
And most of all, he has done a good job, and he works efficiently.
4 years later, there is a new road to Shangzhoushan village, and now most of the stone houses have been successfully restored. Zhang Wei has fulfilled his promises and has won the hearts of the people.
What do you do to protect the village?
Look at the walls. Look at this. These are old walls. See? 200 years old. See the tiles? If you look at the single tile, it's actually composed of the equivalent of 3 tiles today. We must protect the ancient village in any way we can. See the stones? Yes, they have stories. After repairs, the village is rejuvenated. It looks almost as it did before. Even the rooms of each house look almost the same.
Zhang Wei has been away for many years, and he understands how the villagers miss walking along the long stone path or sitting by the side of the pond, the old and peculiar well, the homemade batter cakes, and the mother with silver hair who waves as you go. Zhang Wei believes every stone in Shangzhoushan village has a story. Every stone has its own spirit, and its stories will always be told as long as the ancient homes remain standing. Today, Suzhou operas are still performed in Shangzhoushan village, including Wang Hangxi borrowing money for the new year and Butterfly Lovers. They are the love stories of those who kept promises and were loyal to each other and have been sung here for many years. Villagers enjoy this music. It speaks of honesty and the importance of family values that are carved into the hearts of the audience through the Suzhou opera performances. Zhang Xiangzong still wanders the streets during the off-season to enjoy the experience. Zhang Chuanfang still talks about tea at length to each of his potential customers. He believes they should know what they are buying. And Zhang Wei still walks the stone paths of his hometown every day. Every villager he talks to, and every stone he sees reminds him of his mission to be an honest official. Sizhou operas remain striking for those who are lucky enough to witness the performances. And the hand-clapping song of Shangjiushan village can still be heard in the old school.
You have 7, I have 7, 21 days to keep the chick on credit. You have 8, I have 8, keep the chicks for just 28. You have 9, I have 9, honesty is for the family of mine. You have 10, I have 10, you have to be honest with what you feel and what you say.